My name is Monette, and this is my channel, Evolve with Monette. So good to share some energy with you tonight. For those of you that are new here, I'm a professional intuitive empath. I specialize in talking to other empaths like you. I have the privilege of getting to work with clients every day, and every day I learn something. And there are always themes each week in the readings that I perform, carry out, and channel. I love the work that I do, but I love it because at the end of the night, I get to come here and decompress with you. YouTube is my safe space. Not a lot of people in my life know about this place. Not my friends, not my family, not some of the closest people in my life to me have access to it. To be honest with you, I wish I would have told nobody about it. Isn't that funny how life works? Because I love growing something authentically, I love growing something with integrity, and I love putting in the work to watch it flourish. And I've never needed a pity view or a sympathy looky loo. I've loved connecting with those of you who found your way here authentically, who were guided by your angels, who found me through an angel number or through a video that interested you that may have had nothing to do with the subject matter that I talk about now, but you stayed. I want to thank you for spending time with me and for coming this way and for coming this way repeatedly. I am grateful. It's a quiet storm tonight. The moon is shining bright, and the message is if they're pouring the gasoline, light the matches. I've noticed that my information and the theme of the readings have gone a certain way in the last several days. It's about standing up for ourselves, and that could be my thing. I am a champion for the underdog, having been an underdog myself, having been underestimated far too often, having been bullied, made fun of, and treated atrociously. And now the universe, the world, life in its own way holds the door open for me. And I speak the same over you here, listening. But my God, did I pay my dues? Paid it with everybody, from closest friends to mentors to family. I've paid my dues. And I've learned a thing or two. And so today, for my new bile empath, my new empath, my person who is coming into themselves and wondering where they begin and someone else ends. We are sponges, right? We will often absorb other people's energy. And if it's friends and family or loved ones, lovers, spouses, you name it, we may not want to stand up for ourselves, but that's exactly why God allowed me to have the experiences I did, and He allows me to counsel the people. Oh, cancel. Someone's getting canceled. That was Freudian. Yeah, a Freudian slip. Who's getting canceled in your life? There's some people you might need to cancel, but there are a lot of people that I've got to counsel. And during those counseling sessions, I have taught a lot of people how to be a bitch. It's funny. It's not something that I thought I would specialize in. It's very interesting how God will steer the course of your life. I spent so much of mine. Can you relate, empath, divine feminine, light worker, earth angel, being nice, being really, really nice to people that were not paying me an iota of compassion, to people that were saying hurtful things to me when I would never do anything of the same fashion, and I overcompensated, right? It's a trauma response. I recently was watching a video done by a survivor of the Holocaust who was a professor, and he was teaching about the trauma response. He grew up as a child in the Holocaust, and so he overworked and overgave so that people would like him, so that he would be seen of value, because the whole world, when he was 8 or 9, told him in World War II that he was of no value because of his race, because he was a Jew, because of his ethnicity. So he spent a lot of time trying to prove how valuable was a little he. That little child stuck in there grew up to a doctor who gave great care to many. But when he spoke from his TED Talk, he said, I didn't value me. And I was trying to get everybody to see the value in me and validate me by saying, how nice is he? Until one day I realized it was a trauma response. and I started to study diligently so that I could teach you about how to set yourself free. Set me free, he did. It's interesting to look at somebody who is having realizations from when they were a kid about the fact that they were over giving and overdoing to people that didn't deserve it. There are lots of videos I have up here about that subject matter, but today this is not that. This is not it. I'm talking to those of you that need to get in touch with your inner bitch. It helps you survive. It keeps you alive. And believe it or not, it puts you on the road to thrive. I'm not saying you need to relish it, right? You don't need to be Cruella de Vil, though even she has her origin story. If you study the tarot, which some people find so scary, which is so funny to me, it's really just a storybook. And you go through all kinds of journeys. It's the fool's journey, and it's an allegory, and it's found in every biblical and or religious spiritual book. This story of going from one thing to another. But particularly, let's pay attention to the Queen of Swords, the Queen of Cups. Let's pay attention to the Queen of Pentacles. Let's pay attention to the Empress. You don't become the Empress without having to have fought a few battles, and then you ascend into the star and then into the High Priestess. It's a fascinating journey we women take. In biblical scripture, often muted, but it cannot be disputed, our power. Let's start with the Queen of Cups real quick. When we're the Queen of Cups, we are abundantly loving. We are over giving. It's associated with Cancer, Pisces, and Scorpio. Doesn't mean that you have to be that. It means that it's the trait of emotional love and connectivity. When it's in balance, it's beautiful, nourishing. It's the best we can be regarding being loving and emotionally available. When it's in balance, it's mental illness and it's a lot of things that keep us low vibration, and we all can be both, light and shadow. Know that about yourself, empath. Don't fool yourself. We are shadow too. Evolving into the Queen of Pentacles from there, we learn to sustain ourselves. We learn what to and not to do regarding our finances, regarding providing for our family, our loved ones. We learn about self-care and all the rest of it. That's where the Queen of Pentacles resides, associated with Virgo, Taurus energy, and all earth signs. Capricorn, that would be Queen of Pentacles. Concerned about our tangible earthy things, our household, the minutiae of life, paying the bills, making sure that we are nourished. I love to see her, that Queen of Pentacles. And then there is the one that has become my favorite, the Queen of Swords. And that's where we'll hover, though I'll go on and talk about more. The Queen of Swords is a bitch, but she's not a bitch because she loves it. She's not a bitch because she revels in it. She's a bitch because someone tried it, and they tried it repeatedly. She went from being that sweet Queen of Cups that would give so lovingly, and that sweet, responsible Queen of Pentacles that would provide and show up day after day, working her fingers to the bone while the sun melts away. And then she turns ice cold, associated with Aquarius, Libra, and Gemini. These are the cerebral signs associated with mercurial energy, which is communication. Gemini rules communication. Aquarian energy ruling healing, forethought, eccentricity, space travel, LGBTQIA, things that people can't always wrap their brains around. And then Libra, balance, equal justice, standing on the ground, partnership. What is fair? I used to say to someone who's passed away, fair is fair. She didn't understand that my sword was in the air. She thought it was a cute little euphemism. It annoyed her because she knew how crooked she was. Even the dead have their tails. What I will tell you is, if you are the Queen of Swords, it's because you will and you are ready to impaled. Impale. You will not be impaled, is what I think I was going to say, but you are ready to impale. Impale is to thrust forward your sword sharp, dripping with truth. It's not poison. It is all the experiences of your youth. It's the refusal to be seen as human and as equal. It's the refusal for people to communicate and say what they need to say. It's the refusal for people to come and play fair. That's when your sword raises quietly in the air. But see, there's an interesting thing. Have you ever watched fencing? Those swords built with precision to bend and not break, so that upon impact, it will not pierce through the body of the person that is there to take the blow. But there's a sound, a whipping sound, that if you've ever heard it, you will know. And it's terrifying. Hello, darkness, my old friend. It's the sound of silence. Come to sit with you again. The Queen of Swords is eerie. She is scary. She's become that way because she is Mary, but not Mary, mother of Jesus. She is Mary Magdalene. She is the one who is talked about, the one who is gossiped about, the one who is presumed did the sin. No one's understood her story. It's been suppressed all these years. Just recently, the Pope gave her her just due and raised her to being sainted in his own way, too. Funny how we give men so much power when she's always had power energetically in her story. Jesus set her free. When the townspeople talked about her proximity to the King of Kings, it was her love offerings that she brought, it was her kindness that she had to bring. There's a story of the two Marys, and one was running around and getting the house prepared, and the other was sitting at the feet of Jesus and washing his feet with her hair. Which one do you want to be? That kind of devotion is scary, and if you are the Queen of Swords, you've been that kind of devoted to somebody. You've washed their feet with your hair, metaphorically, meaning you have sacrificed and you have given and you have humbled yourself to be of service to them. And they take it for granted. How dare they? The Queen of Swords doesn't have much to say, ironically, being that she is ruled by the signs of communication. But oh my God, does she speak? She speaks without having to move her feet. She speaks in the shadow as you see the sword raised above a head of someone who has been playing in your face for days and days. She speaks as you hear the sound of silence as a blade slices through the air. She impales and she does it without a care, because by the time you get to the Queen of Swords in the journey of the tarot, you are someone to fear, because people have taken you to the brink. They have driven you there. Sweet empath, divine feminine, it's okay to own your anger. It's okay to feel your feelings. The Queen of Swords has been bullied. She has been pushed to the edge. I'm hearing one of the songs from the kids, Push Me to the Edge. All my friends are dead. You know, when I heard that the first time, I thought, how demonic. But I understand that even in his channeling of that music, he was conveying the truth of what it is to feel alienated. When you are pushed to the edge, and if it's by your friends, then they're better off dead. And I don't mean actually, I mean figuratively. Cut them out of your life. Just, what am I going to say? Expeditiously. Cut them out of your life without recompense without an excuse, unapologetically. Remove them like a cancer that is stealing your life, blood, source, and youth, because it is. The betrayers that stand in your face and that bully you, that pour gasoline on the fires and that dare you to light the match, want the match lit. You can't stay always in that low vibrational shit, I assure you. But for a time and for a season, just like in the journey of the tarot, there is a reason for the Queen of Swords to raise her blade and to hold those accountable who played with her name and played in her face. Put some respect on my name. That's what the Queen of Swords has to say, and she says it without saying a word. By the time the Queen of Swords is unsheathing the metal, there is no more talking to be heard. She's tired of talking. She's all talked out. Another song coming in. I'm all cried out over you. The Queen of Swords has no more crying to do. You know who cries? The Queen of Cups. She cries. She prays. She beguiles and prays and loves and hopes. She is youth and hope springing eternal. She's got a river of life flowing out of her. She will help blind people. She will help maimed people. She will rehabilitate people. She will let someone suckle from her breast energetically and bring them back to life spiritually. That's who cries. The Queen of Cups, associated, like I said, with Cancer, Pisces, and Scorpio. Watery energy, emotional, emotionally available, perceiving your needs and caring about how you grow. The Queen of Pentacles will imbue you with the power to grow, give you something tangibly that you should know, set you on your feet and spin you in the right direction, empower you financially, and with the gift of introspection. She's talking too, and she's still talking to you. The Queen of Swords doesn't give a fuck because she's been pushed to the edge. And if she's been pushed to the edge, it's probably by her friends, and that means that they're dead to her in the end. It takes time to recover from betrayal when your heart has been impaled. That's the Ten of Swords. If you want to look at that tarot card, it's profound. I will see if I can find it because the deck that I have makes it so clear to see that the ultimate betrayal has been perpetrated to thee, and you become the Queen of Swords after that level of betrayal has been done again and again and again by many men, many men wish death upon you. Seems like a morbid message tonight, but it's something that I was called to do. I'm going to show you the Queen of Swords. She's coming out here. Fantastic. Remember her. You are her with your sword in the air, and you got there because people played games with you. People took your love and your kindness for granted. People thought that you were easy to be bullied around. They thought that you were planted. They told you you would never leave, and they really truly believed it. They thought you would go nowhere. They thought you would always be there to receive their ill treatment. I'm looking through the cards, and you know what's so funny? I'm not seeing the Queen of Swords. Fascinating, but not the Queen of Swords. I saw her. The Ten of Swords. I wanted you guys to see that. But here's what you need to understand. The Queen of Swords is the one who has your back. The Queen of Swords is your internal self. It's your alter ego. It's the person that hears above the things that were said and is reading the minds and is in their head. Oh, here's the Ten of Swords. Here's the Ten of Swords. You guys see that? The Ten of Swords. That's what was done to you in order for you to become the Queen of Swords and to do what you needed to do. Do you see that? The Ten of Swords, the wolves circling, sniffing your carcass 10 times done to you, things perpetrated to you, stabbed in the back over and over again. Those friends that were actually foes did attack, those family members that didn't care about you, did not have your back, the people that gossiped, the co-workers, you name it, you were attacked. The thing about the Ten of Swords that's so powerful is it's repeated bad behavior. When you're reading the tarot, you would say the ultimate betrayal. And what it means is that you were over and 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 over again, impaled. That means that you were the Queen of Cups who said, stop, wait, no, back up. Maybe we can do this another way. And then you were the Queen of Pentacles who said, let me teach you. I think we can move in another direction. You were even the Queen of Wands, fiery in her passion. Maybe I can convince you that love is all we need. And then you were the Queen of Swords and you said, tonight, you bleed, not me. It's a bloodletting story to become the Queen of Swords. Let me introduce you to her in her silence and her power. Notice that next to her, it's not a vicious animal, it's a calf, it's a cow, it's a bull. You will not be bullied. And notice the look on her face. It's a quiet resolve. It's stony grace. It's steely grace, placed on her throne, ice cold, sitting in the snow. The Queen of Swords is not someone anyone wants to know, but you will meet her. And your body, if you have been a betrayer, will greet her, but not with a handshake. It will be with the tip of your blade. Sharpen to do maximum damage because they had a chance to stand down, but instead they wanted to bully you around. What do they say, folks? You mess with the bull and you get the horns. There's a reason for that. How many times did you warn people quietly to stand back? In one of my favorite songs by Jay-Z and Novato, Jay-Z says, if you don't know war tactics, walk backwards. The Queen of Swords has studied Sun Tzu and the art of war. You see, the Queen of Cups and the Queen of Wands studied The Art of Seduction by Robert Greene. The Queen of Pentacles read Rich Dad, Poor Dad and learned how to grow the green. But the Queen of Swords studied the 48 Laws of Power and Sun Tzu. She does not give one fuck about you by the time she has become that person, and it's because she has been stomped on repeatedly. Empath, it's okay to let your inner bitch free. Some of the best results I've had in my life with people is when I've stood up for myself unapologetically, when I've told the truth and I've not given a damn how it affected the people around me that were bullying me. It was all fun and games when they were laughing and when they were playing, when they had the upper hand, when their fingers were pointing, when they were testing you purposely, knowing that you knew exactly what they would do, but they didn't know what you would do. That's the power of the Queen of Swords, too. Little Wayne says, real G's move in silence like lasagna. It was a funny line in a rap song, and everybody laughed about it. And we thought, my God, this guy's actually kind of brilliant. Listen to that again. Hear the word lasagna. If you ever like Garfield, I'm sure you're familiar with that. Lasagna. Real G's, meaning gangsters, meaning G's, meaning people that have been on their knees till they were bloody red, pleading for mercy from people that were bashing them upside the head, whether this was physically, actually, domestic violence, in reality, spiritually, sexually. I stand with you. Real G's get that way because of what that abuse do, because of what that abuse did, because of trauma responses. Real G's move in silence like lasagna. You don't hear the G in lasagna, but it's there. It's stealthy, but it serves a purpose to hold up the integrity of the word. We are real G's, empath, and now you've heard. That Queen of Swords moves in silence. They were laughing. It was funny. They thought you were as precious as a bunny. Have you ever seen a bunny bite off a finger? Because I have. I've known it happen to a couple of people that I actually really love and care about. Rabbits are nothing to play with. Hey, Emily. Rabbits are to be taken very seriously. The Queen of Swords protects herself because no one else has protected her. The Queen of Swords studied quietly. The quote is, "It is better to be a warrior in the garden than a gardener in the war." When you are the Queen of Swords, you are a gardener, but you're a warrior too. Not everybody has to know what you will do, when you will do it, and what your intentions are. Because if revenge is something that you want to pursue, then you will do so. It is not something that I recommend because there is a cost to everything, and there is an energy expenditure when you have to light the match. But they asked me to show you visuals so that you can see quite clearly what I mean. Let's talk about the journey through the tarot. This is how we begin. Lovingly giving to everybody everything, emotionally available, the Queen of Cups. And then we move. Did I pull out the Queen of Pentacles? We move into the Queen of Pentacles. Let me see if I can find her for you. I also have the Queen of Wands. Yep, they're back together. They were back to back. They were hanging out. The Queen of Pentacles. This is what we move to. This is that Taurus, Capricorn, Virgo energy, teaching people about practicality, fiery passion associated with Libra, Leo, Sagittarius, and Aries. This is passionate. This is passion energy, and it's also part of our journey. And we move through all these stages. But when people play games with us, and we've been all three, so let me show you all three, then we move on. So here we are as all three. You can get all three of these. We have all of this in us, guys. This is part of our journey. And we walk through that and we teach from all of these places. But when someone doesn't have our back, then we become she. You see her? Unapologetically, we become her. Does she look like she cares? The reason she got there, though, is because she had to climb over glass in order to become a badass. And that's what you are. I had to jump on here tonight in the middle of the night to let you know that's what you are. And that's what you will have to be. When I said the best results that I've had in my life is when I've stood up for me, I've told no lies. It's also very freeing. You will read a million Instagram posts and inspirational Twitter things, and they will say, stop caring about what everybody says, give no fucks. It's nice. It's a nice thing to hear, but until you really get it through your head, you will not pull out your knife, your sword, and your sword is that of truth. What does James Brown say? Tell a lie about me, and I will tell the truth about you. That is what we're empowered with, empath. One of the things that kept us alive, one of the ways we learned how to survive was by reading the energy in the room. We did that from narcissistic and toxic and abusive parents from our origin stories. And we did it for survival so that we could make it another day. So when those people are in your face and they like to play, what have you learned about them? I advise you highly to use your sword of truth to impale them with their own reality. You are the mirror. You are here for a reason. You don't do it judiciously for fun. That was their laughing season. And the reason that it pierces so completely is because they know you, those friends of yours in quotation marks, air quotes, they know that you do not use that just to be mean. That's not who you are. So when you let them know, you liar, you betrayer, you person, you are seen and you unmask them, they melt. They can't take the heat. Oh, they had all of the gasoline. But when you lit that match, all they could let out was a silent scream. It was night paralysis. They didn't understand how did it go from a dream to a nightmare to this, their worst fate. Because you weren't playing in their face. And you were no longer the Queen of Cups, pleading with tears and emotion, and you are no longer willing to show them how to walk through and to grow up to be like you, and you are no longer passionate about their bullshit. Instead, you said, you want to play games? Then get cut. You want to be froggy? Then jump. You want to go to the gas station? Then I'm the one who's filling the pump. What's that song that's on TikTok? You want a bamba? You want a G with the big boys? The Queen of Swords is a G. She's playing no games with you or me. And if she comes out of you, God bless everybody. Run for cover. Run for cover. Because the Queen of Swords doesn't spare a friend, a foe, or a mother. That hating ass mother that didn't like you, you know that one in your relationship that was always smiling in your face, hiding behind their Christian piety, but behind closed doors they were like, "Oh my God, protect my son or my daughter from that whatever, fill in the blank." Meanwhile, back at the farm, if they really know the truth, use that sword. Can we talk about the truth, empath? Can we talk about the truth, divine feminine? You were the child that they really wanted to bring in. Oh, you may have been cloaked in a different skin, in a different body, in a different essence. But what they didn't know about their narcissistic child is that what they were praying for was a you, someone who was self-made, someone who was integral, someone who kept their body to themselves, someone who didn't sleep with the whole town, someone who actually could hold them down, someone who didn't lie to their face about their embezzlements, their thievery, and their scamming. You were actually the daughter and the son that they were praying for. Amen? That's some Queen of Swords shit. Sometimes you might have to tell that mother that. That's not being a bitch. That's the truth. I'm the daughter you wanted this whole time. While you were hating, it wasn't the person that you thought was your person. She was me and I was her. We switched around. What a trick on you. While you were rebuking me, I was the truth. The Queen of Swords tells the truth. What about that friend that bullied you, that thought that they were better than you? That friend to undermine you? That friend that plotted on you cruelly because their insecurities couldn't take boundaries? Come on, I'm talking to somebody. Their insecurities couldn't take boundaries, so they wanted to wage all out war on you. They forgot that all the Queen of Swords does is read Sun Tzu, The Art of War. She is prepared to lift her sword in the air, but I promise you, empath, divine feminine, between me and you know we don't want to go there. But they're taunting us with the gasoline. And if that's the truth, then a fire will be seen. Light that shit up. You have permission from your ancestors. You have permission from your angels. You know, it is said the god of war, when we're talking about video games and various things, the god of war is actually ruled by Aries. Aries is actually considered, is ruled by Mars, which is the god of war, which rules Aries, Aries, Sagittarius, and Leo, the fire signs. We step into different incarnations, and that's why the tarot exists in the way that it does. It is not some scary divination. It's a story of the various incarnations we take as we go through being forsaken for goodness sake, or evolving into our higher selves. After you become the Queen of Swords, you do not there dwell. That's what you need to know. From there, you grow and you transform into the Empress. The Empress is still looking back. Are you going to get your shit together? Are you coming or not? She's a color green, but not with envy. It is of healing. Because that's what you have to do after a war. You have to heal yourself. And if you have to raise your sword and impale them, if it is off with their heads, if you have to leave them leaking and dead, energetically, of course, then you will have to heal from that. The atrocities of war are also scarring. They cause PTSD. I felt away after I had to cut myself free from encircling boa constrictors and creepy crawly spiders that wanted to devour me. How dare they? You will have to heal from that. The Empress crawls back up on her throne. She is barefoot in most of the cards. She is pregnant with a new idea and a new thing, which is what you will be after you go to war. That's usually what you're protecting. There's an innocence in you that wanted to be birthed Could it be your actual child? Maybe, but whatever it is, you knew its worth. Was it a business? Was it an idea? Was it a dream that you could leave a poverty conscious behind? Was it a dream that you could leave behind a man or a woman who was abusing you, cheating on you, putting you in third parties, and didn't value you? You had a dream. You were Martin Luther King, and that's why the Queen of Swords unsheaths that thing and sharpens it and thrusts it into their softest parts. It's because you will not be held back. It's because you live with your heart. You are Rudy, if you've ever seen the movie Notre Dame. You have a heart. Don't let the size fool you, is what I've always said, for different reasons, but let it ring in your head. No matter your size or your stature, you can carry a big sword. But afterwards, you transform into the Empress and you heal. The Empress is regal. The Empress is down to earth. She's not full of herself because she knows how to get down in the dirt because she was just there as the Queen of Swords. She knows what it is to come up from a battle and she's bloody, but it's not a drop of hers. They wanted to cover you in gasoline, and they were surprised when the fire could be seen encircling them. Set ablaze, aglow, lighting the city up, lighting their energy up, lighting their lies up, bringing clarity to the untruths and the pain that they wanted to pour on you. You're holding that match. You're laughing maniacally because what I will speak over you, my empath, my earth angel, is that your God cannot deny you. He will not deny thee. I'm hearing Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. You were in the fire with no one but the Lord by you because you were a rider. Real G's move in silence like lasagna. They didn't hear when Jesus entered that fire, those three boys, when they were put to death for doing what was sacrificial. Someone here is going to be going through a season of fasting and of changing their food as well as they are being guided. I don't know who that message is for. That is what that story is about. If you study it, I will not go into it fully, but what I will tell you is someone here is changing something about themselves. And when Jesus entered the chat, when Jesus entered the oven, because that's what it was quiet. They didn't hear him. They saw him, and they came out without a burn. Those haters wanted to watch you burn, poured the gasoline over your head, did the smear campaigns, lied on you instead of telling a truth, a simple truth, didn't communicate, pretended that they didn't understand, feigned ignorance and narcissistic amnesia. They poured the gasoline. And then when you unsheath the sword and you light the match and you laugh maniacally, they say, "Oh my God, look, she's crazy." But no one knows how they provoked thee to that point but you. That's why I say standing up for yourselves is something that a healthy empath will do. It is your birthright. Yes, you can have your tears in the night. You can have your strategy. You can walk through all of those things. But at the end of it, there is a healing that will be brought in. That's the star card here. That's the card of the empath, Aquarian energy. That's the card of eccentricity. That's the card of understanding that you are the light. You are the light worker. You are the lighthouse. You beam out brightly after that kind of pain, after you have become the empress and regenerated yourself again, after you had to be the Queen of Swords because they were not hearing you. It's not just that we stay locked on the bitch. Though I will tell you, when you get there, it's a fun thing to do after years and years of being treated badly. But it's for us to ascend and move on. We don't stay in that low vibrational space because I promise you, like I said, there is a cost to lay them to waste. And yes, it has to be done. And they signed up for it ancestrally, meaning if you get to a place in your life where you have to cut someone out of it or let them know about who they really are, it was designed that way from your Akashic records or the book of life if you come from Christianity. It was meant for you to encounter them, and it was meant for them to your bully, but not for them to best you and not for them to win, but for them to understand that their sin will not be tolerated, that they are held accountable no matter how narcissistic they are, no matter how above the law they think they are. Karma, which means feeling what I have felt and understanding the truth, comes for everyone, not just you, empath. We get it quickly. That's what people don't understand. They think we pay no prices and we think we're better. No, that's not it at all. Trust me. I have made a lot of mistakes and make them all the time. But what I will say is that I consult with the divine even when I have got it wrong. Being a bitch is not something that is easy for us to walk into. It's in fact what many people do not understand. The last thing we want to do. Oh, how my heart quivered and ached for the 2 years leading up to the place where I knew my sword I would have to unsheath and some lives, energetically speaking, I would have to take. I didn't want to do it, but my God, did they push me to it. And that's the funny thing about war. All of the consternation and the Queen of Cups energy and the Queen of Pentacles energy and the Queen of Wands energy immediately left me. They poured that gasoline on me, and that was the final thing. Tried to set me up. My demise they tried to bring, and my survival instinct kicked in. And I didn't give one single fuck about cutting them. I'm not going to lie to you. It was refreshing. And that's exactly what the Queen of Swords energy will be. It's a bit chilling. I pity the fool who pushes you to that point. There's a reason that you get to that point so that you know what you're capable of. I will never look back. No one ever gets to passive aggressively attack me. If I say something, that's what the fuck I mean. And I don't renege on it. I don't take it back. I don't make a scene. I say what I mean and then I remove myself quickly. Because in war, we don't linger, do we, ladies? We do not linger. When you get to the star, that healing happens. And then after the star, the final place of ascension. And this is my favorite place. I thought I was just going to talk about the bitch part, but they said, tell them the full story. Let them understand how tarot is not scary, and it is about growth in many ways. It's about so much. It's so layered. It's so intricate. To be a reader, it's not a one size fits all. There are books, but they mean nothing. It's just a basic understanding. You can get your PhD, trust me, but it takes a lot of practice and learning. I don't have my PhD, I wouldn't say, but I definitely have the channeling down, and I practice that every day. I wanted to see if I could find the one for you. Guys, show me what I'm looking for here. Yes, here she is. After we go through the journey, so let's talk about it, and I'll give you a quick recap. This is my favorite one, the last one. So, we start out as, what do we start out as? The loving Queen of Cups, emotionally available, Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio energy. This is when it's healthy. Then we are the Queen of Wands, living passionately, sexy, attracting. Look at that cleavage there, girls. That's us. And we are happy. And then we're the Queen of Pentacles, exuding practicality, right? Then we're the Queen of Pentacles. Then they push us and they light the fire. And we are this, the Queen of Swords. There's no more desire, there's no more love, and there's no more advice. This is where you cut people out of your life. Then you graduate to the Empress. You heal yourself. You're regal. People respect you and they don't even understand why. Because someone who has been in battle earns respect without people having to bat an eye. You don't have to announce it. You don't have to demand it. People will give it because they can feel it pouring off of you. There's something about that Empress and the things she's been through. I don't understand it, but I respect her. Real G's move in silence like lasagna. Then you heal yourself because battle is not easy. You become a light worker and a beacon to others and a leader, and you because you set yourself free, so you teach about it. What does Maya Angelou say? When we learn, we teach, and when we teach, we learn. I live by that completely. But the last step here, and the one that is my favorite, is this. My sweet divine feminines and my empresses is the High Priestess. Real G's. This is the real G. You want the Bamba? You want the G with the big boys? Well, this is the run kitty kitty. It's the run kitty kitty. This is the quiet storm. Notice there is no feature on her face. She is silent, black. The black is symbolic of protection. Like the stones and crystals we use, check out my Crystal Clear series, Tourmaline, Obsidian. She looks like a crystal ball of black obsidian that I have. The High Priestess doesn't speak at all. She just knows. Look at what's in her hand, the Book of Knowledge. She just knows. She is swaddling something precious to her. Whatever that is for you, take a look at the baby over there. Whatever that is for you. The thing that I love about this card, there's so much symbology. The moon is crescent. There is a crescent moon, meaning that there is something yet that is not fully known. The High Priestess is psychic. She is spiritual. She is no longer wielding a sword. She doesn't have to. She has premonitions and prophecies that come through. She understands things before they even happen. On the curtain in back of her are pineapples, which represent hospitality, which represents understanding. It also represents three. Pineapples are put upside down on porches to represent swingers or polyamory. I don't know if you guys know that. But upright, it is the Trinity, Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. It is the full integration of the Holy of Hosts. The pillars are black and white that stand on astride her, inscrawled with knowledge like cave drawings, ancient of days. The Queen of Pentacles has something to say, and it's on this. There's knowledge here about acquisition. The Queen of Cups talks about emotion. Yes, the Queen of Wands is passionate and fiery. And the Queen of Swords is deadly and icy. The Empress is regal, grounded, and down to earth. The Star is a healing empath who knows her worth, but this High Priestess, she's something else. Real G's move in silence like lasagna. She knows what's coming. She knows what was going to happen. She understands the future. She understands the present. That blue deals with our crown chakra that she's wearing, and on her collar is a heavy mantle. Heavy is the head that wears the crown as it is upon her head, and it may be weighing her down, but she is ethereal. She is etheric. She is otherworldly. This speaks to ancient aliens. This speaks to angels that came in and said, "Do not fear," because when they stood before you, you would be trembling because it wasn't anything that was fluffy and something familiar to be seen. It was something that contained all knowledge that was radiant. It was something out of what seemed like a dream, or was it a nightmare? You see, the Queen of Pentacles, yeah, she can teach you things and she cares. She can ground you. But this High Priestess here, she surrounds you. She's omniscient. She's omnipresent. She becomes one with the Godhead, Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. To the ones we love the most. She's protecting knowledge. She's protecting things. She's growing things. She is a representation of all of the queens embodied in one, and she has ascended. And yet the battle has just begun. That crescent moon tells us so. There are more things to know. You never stop learning when you become the High Priestess. This is not about you thinking you're an actual High Priestess, and for some of you guys here, maybe you do, and that's fine. That's between you and Jesus and whoever you talk to. I'm talking about metaphorically. I'm talking about spiritually. I'm talking about the analogy of understanding that we ascend, especially after many men, many men have wished death upon us. The queens are beautiful, but the High Priestess is the one I trust. She knows so much. She's always learning. Look at her poring over her book, almost like she's reading Braille. Her third eye is open. She doesn't need to actually see. She is sensing the information that pours through thee. We are conduits, guys. Yes, I thought it was just going to be about being a bitch, and that's nice too. And it's something that every single empath will be called to do if you're going to survive. If you're going to stay alive, You will have to become discerning. That's what the high priestess is. She's forever learning about who she can and cannot trust, but she does not make a fuss. That's why I love the high priestess. She's very quiet, similar to the Queen of Swords. She's not here to start a riot. She absolutely knows her worth. She's moving things telepathically. She's moving things kinetically. She does not have to lift a finger for someone to be terrified or to have reverence and to bow before her or to stand with her and to seek knowledge from her. She is a teacher. When you look at the tarot, I want you to look at it differently. It's not about it being scary, it's about our journey. Shout out to my high priestesses, my real G's that have moved in silence like lasagna, but I promise you, you don't embody the high priestess until you have not been afraid to be her, the Queen of Swords. Stand up for yourself. Know your worth. When the wolves come sniffing around and they're bringing their gallons of gasoline, give them a show that they have never seen. Light their asses up and set yourself free. How's that for a little reciprocity? They bully and you return the favor by telling their truths. Hold the mirror up to them, my sweet divine feminine, my empath, my light worker, and save you. So good sharing some energy with you today. Come back and join me next time, and we will continue to evolve together.